afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the international webinar, Implementing Green Manufacturing in Indian Industry, a study organized by WRFASE in association with IRAJ webinars. On the behalf of the entire organizing committee, I'm ISAC, organizing secretary. Would like to welcome you all for this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the organization. The motto behind this non-profit association is to bridge the gap between students, professors, academics, and industrialists from multidiscipline. Apart from organizing various seminars, expert talks, and conferences, we have various highly rated multidisciplinary journals in the field of science and engineering, technology, and management. Since our inception, we have been arranged various international conferences at various parts of the world, like New York, London, Australia, Hong Kong, Dubai, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, India, etc. More than 1 lakh people across the globe are associates with us, and more than 5 lakh research papers have been presented and published during our journey. Today, I'm glad to welcome you all as a member of this fastest growing network for the advancement of science and technology in terms of research and innovation. Today, we were very much fortunate to have an eminent professor and expert who is joining this webinar as an expert speaker and guest. His name is Professor Dr. U.C. Jha. Presently, he is a director of CIA Technology Center. Now I would like to welcome our Professor Dr. U.C. Jha to deliver the webinar.
I am Professor Dr. U.C. Jha. I am a professor in the School of Mechanical Engineering, lovely professional university in Punjab. And I have MTech from IIT Madras, PhD from NIT Himachal, and DSc, and more than 25 years of experiences. I have traveled around 8 countries and given keynote speech in 10 countries, plenary speaker in 6 countries. So total, in total, I have, spoken or presented our country in 20 countries. In which 10 was keynote speaker and 6 was plenary speaker. 2 was, session chair. And I have very diversified experience. I have worked in industry also, and in academia, I have worked in all positions, whether it's HOD or principal, vice principal, director. I was director CIA Technology Center, in which there was collaboration of industry with the academia. I was having 10 times who's in the world. So I have very diversified experiences, and I have given consultancy also on ISO 9000, TQM, Six Sigma, green manufacturing. So our topic here is how you can implement green manufacturing in Indian industries. So we'll go in detail that if somebody is interested to implement green manufacturing, how can they implement it? So just I'll upload my PPT. As our topic is implementing green manufacturing in Indian industries. So we'll want to implement green manufacturing, and the green manufacturing is the need of the hours. As you know, there's a lot of pollution, and there is global warming, there is climate change, and you might have seen the effect of climate change. In October there was rain in Delhi and adjacent areas, and if the rain is not in season, that will affect your crops, different seasonal crops. At the end, we have less produce, and there is a scarcity of food grains and many other difficulties, and likewise, global warming because of, increasing temperature of the world, the Antarctica and the global, this polar, ice is melting fastly, and that way, the sea level is increasing, and there is a threat that, many coastal areas, many countries will, submerge in the water because of increasing level of sea because of global warming. So, green manufacturing is an effort, to reduce this global warming and climate change. And as you know, 25% of energy consumed by manufacturing industry. So it's a huge chunk of energy which is used by manufacturing industry. So if you implement green manufacturing, that will lead to less pollution, less global warming, and then climate change will reduce. So we can have a sustainable development. Sustainable development means we should not consume whole of the earth produce ourselves. We should take care of our generations which will come in future also, so that earth can have a higher life with the living peoples. Otherwise, if we go with this pace, climate will be so hot, as you might have experienced, those from India, as we experience it, now out of 12 months, around 10 months is the warm climate. It's a hot almost. So only January and December is, December, January is the we feel some cold. So this is all because of global warming. So that is the background, and so we want to implement green manufacturing, as in a manufacturing sector takes 25% of total energy. So if you reduce some energy intake, reduce some waste materials, that will have a significant impact on global warming and climate change. That will reduce the Earth's temperature. As you know, green manufacturing is not an option but necessity. Now it becomes necessity. We have no other options. So because of things become so alarming. So as you know, through manufacturing, a lot of greenhouse gases are emitted, produced. So, and that leads to another kind of pollution to solid, liquid, or gaseous waste, which disposal is a major problem. So if you dispose those items, that will lead to pollution. So better to not produce those kind of manufacturing process, that is called green manufacturing process, so that there is less pollutant, less waste, and so disposal and recycling is not a big issue for that. So we'll see one by one, that how we can implement. Somebody is interested, how they can implement the green manufacturing. So from design stage itself, from design and development phase itself, we should select such a material that's called nowadays green materials. Green materials, so that its disposal, recycling becomes easier. So the whole manufacturing process, which starts from design, at the design phase itself, environmental conscious design. At the design stage itself, you should select such a material, that is green material. Then you should take such a design that its disposal becomes easier. Again, it can be used for other kind of applications. Once its life has been phased out for particular application, then it can be used for some other purpose. As you know, somebody has taken out his T-shirt because it's taken for 2 years, 3 years. Then that can be used as cleaning the surface, cleaning the car, or any other appliances. So that way, its effect of disposal will be reduced. So we'll see some aspects. We'll take some case study. So at present, green manufacturing are used for the following: provide a cleaner source of energy. As you know, there are a lot of advancement in the field of renewable energy. Now a lot of things are going on, and you are using mostly solar energy, or hydrogen energy, and even some cars are used hydrogen, and there are a lot of research going on that, so that it becomes viable to use solar energy for the automobile also. And nowadays electric power vehicle is much in demand, and in India also many companies have started making electric powered vehicle. Then we have a hybrid vehicle. So the purpose is to provide cleaner source of energy. As you know, this fossil fuel based energy, like a power plant which is based on coal or diesel or gas, it emits a lot of smoke, and through that smoke, a lot of harmful gases, and disposal of waste, solid, liquid, gaseous waste leads to another kind of problem. So the emphasis is on cleaner energy, solar energy, then hydrogen energy, then tidal energy. So there are a lot of research going on. Decrease energy consumption, convert pollutants and waste into byproducts. So the pollutants and waste can be used as a byproduct for some other factory. Maximize yield and minimize waste. So maximize productivity and minimize waste. So there should be less use of waste disposal. You can recycle, reuse. It can be used as a byproduct for some other industry. So that is the major purpose of green manufacturing. So differences in the scope of concern, there are, these are the things which you generally study during green manufacturing or environmental conscious design or sustainable design. Environmental engineering, pollution prevention, environmental conscious design. Actually, environmental conscious design is at the design phase itself. We are incorporating materials, process, design, so that it's easier to dispose, easier to recycle, easier to reuse. Green engineering, life cycle design. Don't design for just useful work. Life cycle design from cradle to grave approach. Cradle to grave, from born to death. So we should take care of all those aspects. Then only useful life. What was I thinking that this shoe will work for 2 years, and after that we'll throw it out. But you should think of just reuse, recycle, so that environmental problems will not come out. So industrial ecology, sustainable development, sustainable technology, these are all parts of green manufacturing. So once you are thinking of green manufacturing, should take care of these aspects like environmental engineering, environmental conscious design, manufacturing, design from cradle to grave approach, life cycle design, green engineering, sustainable development. So all these are the parts of green manufacturing. So two basic concepts: a scope of environmental concern and a scope of temporal concern. So a scope of temporal concern means you are just living in the present, and you think that I'm not aware of things that which happen in the future because of the waste we have generated, because of pollutants came out of the industry, and that is the short-sightedness. You should take a broader aspect, and we should see that if the disposal, if the pollutants came out of the smoke or liquid discharge has any harmful effect on environment or sustainable development. As you know, many companies are closing their eyes on all these issues because they think that there is a lot of cost involved. So they are just having short-sightedness. They just use and make their product and discharge all the liquid, gaseous, or solid waste into the different places, and that becomes a big issue. So because they think that if you see the things in totality, we have to make a lot of expenses in effluent treatment plant. If you want to clean the liquid discharge, they have to use ETP, and their cost will be high, their running cost will be high. Then for gaseous waste, they have to use scrubbers or other devices which can reduce the pollutants in the gases. And likewise, so for solid waste, you have to make some arrangement so that solid waste should be disposed properly. So they think that that will incur cost. So better to make your product and dispose those things. And in India, a lot of bribery is there. So even the environmental pollution department is there. They can manipulate them. So that is short-sightedness. So you should have a broader scope and a broader aspect of thinking. And after all, we'll see that if you make a life cycle approach, environmental conscious design, then sustainable development, that will not cost much. Overall, the impact which your company will get, overall goodwill or brand your company will get, that's value will be much higher than whatever cost you have incurred in disposal of solid, liquid, and gaseous waste. So there are 8 main approaches. One by one we'll discuss for implementing green manufacturing. So one by one we'll discuss sustainable technology, industrial ecology, life cycle design, green engineering, design for environment, environmental conscious engineering, pollution prevention, and environmental engineering. So these are 8 approach through which we can implement green manufacturing, through which we can achieve green manufacturing technology or green manufacturing process in our manufacturing industry. One by one, I'll discuss environmental engineering. Everybody, should understood, should have a basic knowledge of what environmental engineering is. So it's the concern of managing transport, control of contaminants in water supplies and discharges, air emissions, solid waste. So in manufacturing context, the focus on environmental engineering effort is after pollutants have been generated or at the end of the pipe. Means once the pollutants have been generated, solid, liquid, or gaseous form, then how you should manage them, how you should treat them so that it should not have a harmful effect on the environment. So that is the environmental engineering. Means after producing all those waste, after manufacturing process, how you should deal with them, how you should dispose, recycle, reuse, and can make a byproduct for other industry, so that it has minimum effect on the environment. Pollution prevention, prevention is better than cure, as you all of us know that prevention is better than cure. So tackle at the source itself, that we should take such a material, just make such a process, so that there will be less generation of waste in forms of liquid, gas, or solid. So better to prevent of creating waste. So we should have efficient technology, we should have efficient machines, efficient people, we should have efficient designers, so that less and less this waste should be generated. Environmental conscious design and manufacturing, we have already discussed. With the environmental conscious design and manufacturing means at the design phase itself, we should so at the designer stage itself, we should implement such a design, such a material you use, so that it becomes easier to dispose, easier to use, and recycle, reuse, it becomes easier. So you can extract maximum materials which you have used in the product, and that can be reused. So that is environmental conscious design, and that's the part of green manufacturing. If you want to implement green manufacturing, you have to look at all those aspects. Design for the environment, as design phase itself, you should use such a material, such a process, such a configuration, so that it becomes easier to use, reuse, recycle, disposal. Life cycle design. So life cycle design I have already discussed. Cradle to grave approach. From coming with the product, then useful life, then disposal or reuse, recycle, all should be in the during the thinking of a product. You should not think that only useful life is our concern. After that, we'll throw it some way. But you should think about cradle to grave. Again, when you are going for costing, you should think from life cycle approach, that from beginning to end, what are the costs involved, what are positive points are there, what are negative points, not only for the useful period, useful working period. So that is life cycle design. As a human has life cycle, product has also life cycle. Introduction, introduction means as the baby birth takes place, so that product has also introduction, growth, maturity, decline, and disposal. So this is the life cycle design, and life cycle costing also we have to take care of. Green engineering we have already discussed. Green engineering, whatever process are there, whatever machines are there, there should be minimum waste disposal should be there, minimum waste creation should be there. So that is green engineering. Industrial ecology. Industrial ecology, it's a broader aspects of environment. When we see the human or this biodiversity, as you say, human, the other creatures, then plant species, all should coexist, and one should not harm others. So that is the industrial ecology. And you can have in many places there is industrial ecology park, in which that industry is also there, and whatever coming out of that industry, that are using as a raw material for other industry. And a lot of greeneries are there, so that carbon dioxide coming out in the environment, they are absorbed by those greeneries. So oxygen is produced by those greeneries. So that way, all things can coexist, and there will be minimum waste generation. As waste of one company industry becomes the raw material for other company. So as in the sugarcane industry, the molasses, sugar mill, the molasses which coming out of the sugar mill, that are used as a raw material for liquor industry. So that way, the minimization of waste generation. So that is the industrial ecology, so that all species, all human, industry, creatures, plants, should coexist, and there should be minimum waste generations. Sustainable development and technology. Sustainable development, as you know, sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the needs of future generation. So sustainable development is, you should not consume all the resources yourself, your generation, but you should keep resources so that coming generations will also use that, and they can survive, they can prosper, they can again achieve their height as they expect. So that is sustainable development. Again, for sustainable development, we should reduce our consumption. As you know, we should consume only what is needed, not for fashion or not for showing off. So that is sustainable development. As I have discussed you, life cycle cost models, life cycle costing, not only useful life cost, but we should take care of life cycle cost from introduction to phase out, cradle to grave. What are costs involved? And as I've told you, if you take care of these all the costing, you will find that this green manufacturing help you in reducing the company's cost, in enhancing the brand image, enhancing the reputation. So as the example, classical example is CFL bulbs. CFL bulbs, chlorofluoro lighting bulbs. So as you know, its cost is much higher. Initial cost is bulb is approximately 10 times that of the normal incandescent bulb. So CFL bulb is costly, 10 times more costly. But if you see its life cycle cost, it consumes very less energy compared to the traditional bulbs. So over the time, you'll see that whatever investment you have made in CFL bulbs, you are getting much more than that multiplied return on that. So if you see the life cycle cost, many things which are hidden, you will be aware of, and at the end you will find that this green manufacturing has helped you a lot in achieving the organizational goal as well as sustainable development, which are the need of the hour. So implementing green manufacturing in the industries, life cycle costing. So some people are joining. So life cycle costing, I have already discussed. Then total cost assessment. Total cost assessment was conducted to find out if alternatives were more preferred than continuing to operate the current process. So if you have certain alternatives, all costing should be done from process 1, process 2, process 2 and 3, and we have to see which is most beneficial. We should implement that with that process, that material, that design. So that is a total cost assessment. If you have multiple opportunity, multiple options, you should take care of all the costing and which are most beneficial, that should be implemented. Performance measurement. It said that if you are not measuring, you can't control. Performance measurement is said, if you can't measure, you can't control. So at every aspect that you have to measure the performances, whether it's costing, whether it's the benefits, whether it's the sustainability, whether it's the productivity, you should be able to measure that before implementation of green manufacturing and after implementation of green manufacturing, what improvement has been made, what are the costing, what are the productivity, what are the efficiency, what are the waste generation before implementing of green manufacturing, what are waste generation after implementing green manufacturing. So that all should be measured. Only then you can improve. So implementation of green manufacturing takes these aspects. As we have already discussed, environmental performance measurement, then life cycle assessment, evaluating performance at every aspect. So these are the issues in implementing. Then we should have green productivity indicators. Green GP index is called GP index, in which we'll know that how much implementation has been done and how much is remaining. So GP index. Productivity ratio. So productivity ratio, you have to compare that before implementing green manufacturing, what was the productivity, after that what are the productivity. So, you know, at each step, you know, you should know how to measure, you know, performance, and we should track the measurement, and then you see that if you are continuously improving in that direction or not. And if not, you know, then you have to take, you know, measures so that you can be on track. So these are the steps required to implement green manufacturing. I'll show one, you know, video, small video of implementation of green manufacturing. Just a minute. That is done in Frito-Lay's, you know, Lay's chips all of us use. So I'll just show it.
Major manufacturers in America and around the globe are now focusing on environmental responsibility and going green in their daily production processes. Frito-Lay, the well-known multi-billion-dollar snack food maker, is one such company. Driven by top-level commitment to being green, the company is aggressively moving to significantly reduce its consumption of key resources system-wide. Reclaiming and recycling are obvious areas of attention in the company's efforts. For example, at the start of the manufacture of potato chips, the washing process produces starch as a natural and unavoidable byproduct. 2.2 million pounds of starch are reclaimed annually from this plant alone. The starch is treated and sold for other uses. At the end of the production line, cardboard boxes used for packing and delivering chips to stores are also recycled, some of them many times over, as demonstrated by the many labels seen on the side of boxes in the packing area. Each year, 5 million trees are saved, enough to fill New York's Central Park nearly 200 times. Solar energy also is a part of Frito-Lay's initiatives. At its Modesto, California plant, 50 acres of solar concentrators generate power for its SunChips manufacturing facility.
Green manufacturing has really been a focus for Frito-Lay since the 90s. We really started out in focusing on resource conservation as a cost initiative to drive down our overall operational costs in energy and utilities. But it's now really become a focus on getting to zero. How do we have a zero impact on the environment from what we use from a natural resource standpoint? So how might we recycle and reuse 90% of all of our water? That's the real focus today. So it's moved from a focus on driving operational cost performance to doing the right thing for the environment, and also demonstrating that we can do it well before we have to.
Stating a commitment to green manufacturing and sustainable production is one thing. Action is quite another. For a number of years now, the company has put in place resource conservation teams to help support its sustainability goals.
The purpose of the resource conservation teams at Frito-Lay are to look, listen, and monitor the usages for energy and utilities. Back in the mid to late 90s, our company was looking at what was going to be available, especially in water in the United States, natural gas, and looking out 10 to 15 years and what was going to happen in the United States. Some of those things that we took for granted in the late 80s and the early 90s are becoming more scarce and less available. Because of that, in the mid to late 90s, we came up with resource conservation teams whose role is to go out again and look, listen, find out where we're using them, how much we're using, to monitor that usage, and to bring the usage down to a reasonable control level.
Company goals include reducing electricity use by 45%, natural gas use by 50%, and water 75% per pound of product by 2017 compared to original company baseline levels. The company's sustainability initiatives have not gone unnoticed. Awards and recognition have come from high-profile entities and agencies such as LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, and the Environmental Protection Agency. Most recently, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay's parent company, earned the prestigious Partner of the Year award from the EPA. Zero landfill waste, defined as less than 1% of total facility waste going to landfill, also is a goal for Frito-Lay.
People will go out to it. So how can we do that to minimize our environmental footprint? A large part of it is going out and looking for additional recycling streams for things that never were recyclable in the past. Let's go out and find out who can reuse them. And what we're finding out is that there are a lot of materials that we can reuse that we never thought was possible to reuse. So based on that, we have certain types of plastic that in a home are not recyclable, but for an industry, because of the amounts we produce, we're capable of sending them off to a recycling facility and reused.
The goals set by the company are aggressive, but employees are dedicated to making a difference.
Our baseline year, we were at 15%. Last year, the manufacturing plant covered 7% landfill percentage. And next year, we're planning on being pretty close to that 1% goal. Currently, we're trending, we're at about 6.5% to 6%, and it's moving down as we find more and more areas where we can recycle different waste streams.
One of the most important topics in the world of business today is sustainability, controlling the use of scarce resources to make our planet a better place to work and live. Managers are finding that the combination of expensive resources, sundry regulations, and firms' reputation results in a heavy burden that falls squarely on the shoulders of operations managers. A whole new area of operations management jobs is being created in a drive for green manufacturing and sustainability. And Frito-Lay, as we've seen, is a national leader in this endeavor.
So am I audible now?
Yes, sir. So you're audible, sir.
So, it was a case example, and I'll take some, Indian companies who has implemented it. So this is, Rama Phosphate Limited, Indore, and by, you can see implementation of green manufacturing in Rama Phosphates Limited, Indore. By applying the concept of green manufacturing, it has not gained only financially, but also increased the overall productivity by 20%. And you can see many benefits they have got. Company invested around $425,000 with a payment period of just 15 months. For in 15 months they have got returns, started getting returns on this. So you can see there is a lot of improvement in its working, productivity increase. And apart from these benefits, the company prepared themselves for, they have prepared for EMS or ISO 14000 certificate. So this is all going to add into the sustainable development by applying ISO 14001. This is an environmental management system. So after all, the fear of company that, if they invest in this technology, green manufacturing, there will be, a lot of cost incurred and they may not get the benefit. But that is the myth, you can see period in 15 months itself, they have got all at a break even, and then they started making profit and their increase in productivity. So likewise, another company, BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, uses this green manufacturing technology. A water conservation measures, reuse of wastewater generated from press operations. So they have used the wastewater, again reused by treating the water. So energy conservation measures, other measures, they have taken energy conservation. Also, they have got a lot of benefit. Air pollution control measures. So triple objective of resource conservation, pollution reduction, and cost saving were pursued. Similar objective also pursued by many other companies. So that way we can see that, when Indian companies are making steps ahead and towards the green manufacturing, and and they are getting substantial benefits. I hope that this seminar will help them, those who want to implement green manufacturing, and that is the need of the hour. Most of companies who can afford, they can go for this. As you know, initial investment may be there, but their return is very fast, and after all, the brand image, the social image, and benefit you will get, that will be much higher than the investment will make. So conclusion, you can see, I strongly believe that green manufacturing can become both economically and socially attractive, and its positive environmental impact is only a beneficial side effect. So we will have a positive environmental impact. It will, reduce global warming, then reduce climate change, which is the need of the hour. So thank you, and participants, if you have any question, you can ask. So that's from my side, sir. If you have any
Yes, sir.
question.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Professor, for sharing your valuable time and for joining this webinar. On the behalf of our organizing committee, IRAJ webinars, I would like to present a certificate to you, sir. Appreciation to you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. And I would like to thank all our sponsors and coordinators. I would also like to thank our president. We will happy to hear your comments and compliments or suggestion at our Facebook and Twitter page. This video will be available shortly in our YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe our official YouTube channel, IRAJ conferences and seminars for all past and upcoming webinars and expert lectures. Thank you all. See you another webinar soon. Thank you, Professor, for sharing your valuable time.
Thank you all. Those who are participating, much thanks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.